Hey guys, it's me. It's Sunday, and I just took a 2-week vacation. Well, at least much needed. Yeah, I wanted to give you a quick update. I guess I owe you a little more of an explanation from my last video. A little more complicated than just marijuana. So I wanted to give you a quick, hopefully a quick kind of summary of what all had been going on. About 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with a precancerous tumor, about a golf ball size, in my large intestine. So I had a foot of my large intestine removed, and then they stapled it back together. Pretty crazy. So that was probably about January. I think that was at the end of January of 2020. It took me about a year to recover from that, which brought me back to around January of 2021, which is when I ended up getting COVID. Ended up getting it from Tyler, my son. He was around some other kids. But anyway, so yeah, after January, my health just kind of started to deteriorate. You know, summertime was coming up. I was trying to work on the summer bod and everything, and you know, when I started to try and lose weight and watch my diet and, you know, do everything I should be doing, my stomach just kept getting bigger, and I couldn't understand it. It was so messed up. So I had gotten over COVID. It took maybe about 3 days or so, and then I was pretty much okay. But I started getting like really lethargic. I was in bed. It was hard to get out of bed. I found that there were days when I legit, I guess, didn't even get out of bed, and to the point where, you know, I have my kids like bringing me food sometimes. It was a slow decline, and my stomach kept getting bigger and bigger, and I didn't know what it was about. I went to the doctor because I wanted to get some other kind of surgery done, and they said, you can't do anything because you're getting ready to die. You're gonna die in like 3 months or something. I was like, oh my God, thanks. It's really reassuring. Tell me, like, from what? So it ended up being ascites, I guess, my stomach, which is fluid that builds up when your liver starts to fail, which I had no idea about. And so it was all news to me. And funny enough, I mean, I had quit drinking previous to that. I assumed that it had to do with drinking or something, and I was like, great. So I drank too much or something and destroyed my liver, and now I got to pay the consequences. So I was kind of mentally prepared for that. If I needed to do that, whatever. It's kind of messed up. And then I ended up getting, I guess April 15th or so came around, and I ended up getting the Johnson & Johnson shot, because I heard that, you know, sometimes it can help with long-term COVID symptoms, stuff like that, which I figured, you know, probably was, you know, but I didn't have any proof or anything. And then shortly after that, because I had COVID already, you know, my immune system was already ramped up, you know, ready for COVID. And so when the shot went in my arm, my body just turned aggressive and attacked it. And it ended up attacking my lungs. You know, the damage to my liver, I don't know if the damage to my liver was done then and it exacerbated. I guess it must have been done before, because I already had the symptoms. So the damage had already taken place prior to the shot. I was trying to think this through chronologically, because there's a lot of stuff that happened. So then I ended up going to the ER. They called me back and they said, your lungs are collapsing. I had fluid. It filled up my chest cavity, pressing against my lungs, crushing them, basically drowning me from the outside in, kind of, if you will. So they had to go in and drain my chest cavity. When they did that, they popped my lungs. So that was just horrible pain. I was in ICU a few times. There were complications with, they took so much blood out of me. I had transfusions, and it just seemed like nothing ever went well. And I went from probably about 165, 170 pounds, I guess at the end of January to, really I was up there until maybe April. And then in June, I was down to 122 pounds. It actually ended up being, it is cirrhosis of the liver. But it's not from alcohol. So anyway, when they checked everything out, they couldn't find any root causes, no signs of alcohol cirrhosis, no signs of anything. They couldn't determine why my lungs filled up with fluid. My entire chest team disappeared after they punctured my lungs, and I kind of forgot a portion of my life during those moments. But they never came back, and they never told me what had caused it, and they couldn't tell me what caused it, and they couldn't tell me that it couldn't happen again. They just disappeared. And it never came back. So, and I moved back onto the liver. So my liver was still having problems. As it turns out, there are micro lesions, just evenly distributed throughout my liver, which are really unexplainable. I did go to the liver transplant floor at Yale. My liver doctor is at Yale. She practices there. And so I went there, and they tested, they did autopsy. They did a biopsy. I had a couple biopsies done, but the latest one that Yale did, they tested it against over 4,000 different samples, and they weren't able to identify it against anything. And if it was an alcohol cirrhosis liver, I'm sure they could identify that blindfolded across the highway or something, so it wasn't even that. So it wasn't even like self-induced in that way, which is good, I guess. I guess I was lucky, but still didn't change the fact that I have cirrhosis of the liver. And so they told me that, I needed a liver transplant, and that I would need one, and I should put my name on and start going through the process. And I just didn't want to go that route. I wanted to try and fix myself, because I didn't really feel like they were doing anything to really help me actually fix myself. So I wanted to give myself a shot. And so basically I told them, get me out of here as soon as possible. I could hardly stand up when I left. I couldn't hardly hold down any food. I was getting fluid in my stomach drained 3 times a week. So just to quantify that, my stomach itself, I would gain probably 8 pounds of fluid just in my belly. And it puts pressure on your diaphragm. It caused me to have constant hiccups, for, I don't know, 4 months, 6 months, you name it. It's been a long time. Puts pressure on your stomach, your intestines, everything just kind of stops working. You can't eat. I'd eat something and, it'd immediately start burping it up or something, or just, it's been a struggle. So I've been trying to handle the fluid with, I was on diuretics as well, so that helped. I was on those until about January of this year. And so I guess in December, I started to feel better. I started to try and get back to work. I tried to start getting back to normal. And my doctor kept saying, all right, how is your head, how are you thinking? And I was like, I don't know. Like, how would I know if I have a mental problem thinking? Would I even be able to tell if I couldn't think or something? She's like, well, there are tests. I don't know. I never took any. All I could tell you was when I tried to type out emails and stuff, I would try and respond to something, and I would start to write a sentence in response, and then I would forget. I just couldn't remember what it was I was responding to again, and I'd have to pull it up again, and then I have little tricks of just putting the email one on the side and then one on the other side, and I'm just kind of going back and forth and doing my thing, responding. But I mean, my memory was shot, and my concentration was shot. It's frightening. So in December, I kind of, it was very much about repairing myself, my mind, body, and soul, just the whole thing, because I just holistically, man, I was just been a mess. So, there's part of me trying to put myself back together again, I guess. But in December, I don't know. I've been doing some research. Oh, I watched a show. It was that that military show. What is that? I guess SEAL Team or whatever. One of the episodes, the SEAL Team commander, he had some concussive brain injury or something over time, and in this episode they were talking about off-label, different medications and treatments that people use, and one of them was a cactus or whatever that they were using, and it got me thinking about, like, maybe there's something out there for my head that could fix me or something. So I started doing research into different roots and different things, remedies and holistic stuff, and I came up with, I'd never even heard of the whole subject of nootropics, but I started doing research into nootropics, and it really opened up a whole nother door of possibilities for me. Some of these, I wouldn't even, they're not really drugs. Some of them kind of are, some are not, but anyway, they're all nootropics, so they're safe to use. They have to be safe to use, and they have to actually do something, but they have to be safe. And so these are safe, and I guarantee they do something. But what I did was I went through and I identified ones that were going to help my brain, that were going to help regrow brain cells, make new connections in my brain, maybe that were broken, whatever the case may be. I learned a lot about it in my reading and stuff, but I know enough to know that I'm not even scratching the surface. And certainly in terms of scientific method, I didn't do that either. I kind of figured, in my case, for me, it's so extreme that, I figured it's kind of like throwing spaghetti on the wall. Throw it on the wall and see what sticks. That's kind of the approach that I took, even though, I do kind of know better than to do that, but that's what I did. And I figured, how much worse could it get? Because I was my brain just wasn't functioning. It wasn't working the way it's supposed to be working. But anyway, I think the combination of, the drugs, when I look back at the dates and everything of when I started taking these things, that was at the beginning of March. And then, so that'd be March, and then April, and then kind of May time frame would be about the time when I think it probably was wearing off, is what I'm guessing. Because I was taking this stuff for probably about a month. Some of the stuff a month and a half, maybe. To get into these stuff, I did jot down this stuff just so that you can see some of what I was taking. I know I published some of it, but Anyway, I just wanted to show you real quick. If we can see this, yeah, you can see a little bit. That's good enough. So up here I have lion's mane. That really is like a holistic thing. That helps just in general with everything. And I highly recommend that for everybody. It's good for emotional support, substance abuses. I mean, it's a mood stabilizer. It gives you energy, helps with focus. It does help stimulate brain cell growth as well. Stuff is awesome. So definitely check that out. Phosphatidylserine. So this, again, this is one for the brain. I believe this is more kind of like fertilizer for the brain, similar to the acetylcholine. I believe it's the same thing. It helps your brain, when it starts getting tired, it just gives it more juice, more fertilizer food, I guess. L-tyrosine. This normally is used for like working out, before you work out and stuff. This stuff's awesome, but I wasn't taking it for that purpose. I was taking it for the mental aspects of it, but it definitely gives you energy. Bacopa, this is a mood kind of stabilizer. Stuff is awesome. It really does help. It's really good for brain health as well. Alpha GPC, this is really good for your memory as well, and like learning, taking that when you're learning stuff. The Huperzine A, I actually don't know. I don't remember what that one was. The acetyl L-carnitine. So this is taken with the L-arginine. So these promote your red, I guess, it's your blood flow is what it stimulates. So it increases your oxygen and blood flow in your system. Really awesome. Helps. It gives you a lot of energy too. Cordyceps. This also is another one. I think this is a mushroom. I want to say it's more for like health or something. But again, it's another good one. Racetam. These racetams are all, I think they're similar in chemical compound makeup, but like this stuff, Primaracetam specifically, I was looking, if you look on examine.com, that's where I did all my research on these different things and how they interact with each other. If you check on there, they give you a list of all of the research as well, documents, yeah, so you can see the drug interactions. But there was one research one that was really interesting, where they took mice and they damaged their brains on purpose. They like concocted them somehow, smashed their brains, and then they fed them this stuff, Primaracetam, for 30 days, I think. And gosh darn if those mice didn't go back to being normal afterwards. I thought that was pretty amazing. So I'm pretty sure that, I don't know how much more complicated my brain is than a mouse, but it can't be that much more complicated. I'm not that smart. So we got phosphatidylcholine. This one is similar. It's another kind of brain food, I believe. Cacao. This was a recent one that just came out last couple months. Research came out showing that this stimulates natural stem cell growth in your body. So this is amazing stuff. This is something that you should definitely look into or get on or whatever. I am still on this, and this stuff's amazing. Yeah, then again, the L-arginine, again, that's increases oxygen in your blood. L-citrulline, that again, I believe is kind of brain food, helps with that. Then for testosterone support, I said the maca root and the ashwagandha root. This stuff really helps. But yeah, so as you can see, I was on quite a few things, all for specific reasons. And I must say that all in all, even though it definitely made me more manic, which I guess is kind of what it's supposed to do in actuality, and also more focused, which is good. The one thing that was weird though was probably the month of March, the first month when I was taking it. I don't know which one caused it, but I really think it's probably the pramarazepam and the anarazepam. But it kind of like made my brain feel like it like melted or something. Like it was hard for me to think for like a month. It was kind of freaky. But I had faith knowing that, these are nootropics and, this stuff has been tested and it's been tested to work. And so I followed it through and, I definitely, I have a close friend of mine that I see just about every day, and they saw me start in March and then go through this whole process, and they were telling me that they saw me change, I guess, close to March, so it was more on the lines with the stuff that I was taking, so that's what I guess caused it and stuff. But so now you know a little more of what's been going on with me behind the scenes and everything. I am, I guess you want to say, back to normal, whatever normal is, but I'm feeling good. Now when I did go to the hospital to get basically analyzed, they did put me on some lithium, which I'm getting off of. And this stuff really kind of messed up my head. So it caused me to lose some memory, short-term memory and stuff. It's been messing with me. So I've been getting off of that and trying to do it slowly because that's what they say you're supposed to do. So far I'm trying to keep my fluid off. My liver function is gone through the roof. My doctor is, she didn't know what milk thistle was. That's something that I had been taking. It's one of the only supplements that, there's true science and research and data behind it, proving that it does work to stimulate liver growth. And to say it worked in me would be an understatement. My doctor, she couldn't believe it. She's like, everything that you're doing, it's incredible. She's like, it's like a miracle. I'm like, it's no miracle. It's because I busted my butt and I did my research. I did my work. I've done it all. I've tried hard. God, I don't know how many times I gotta almost die or something, but I just keep going, and I'm winning every day. So I've put my family through heck, everybody through heck around me. It's messed up. It's affected everybody. It's not just me, and I realize that. It's all my friends and family. It was one of the reasons why I didn't want to tell anybody, really. Not too many people knew that I was in the hospital. Not too many people knew what I was going through. And that was on purpose. I've had friends and family that have been through, everybody's been through enough. I don't want to worry anybody, selfishly maybe, whatever. But anyway, I'm on the mend. So everything's good, but it definitely changes your outlook, or it did mine at least. I thought, if there's any way for me to get out of this thing, when I was in the hospital at 122 pounds, I was like, look, if there's any way to get me out of this, I'll spend the rest of my life trying to, make one person smile a day, or make somebody's life better a day. just something, anything, just to make the world a better place. You know, just little things. And that's kind of what I'm about. That's how I roll now. So, yeah. So I'm kind of, I mean, I'm normal, but I'm definitely, you know, I'm never be the same. Hopefully, you know, I'm just better. Just keep getting better every day. Keep fighting. Mind, body, and soul, baby. Keep going. All right, guys. Anyway, that's the unabridged version of the story. I guess I owed everybody an explanation at this point, and I love you and I miss you all. And to those of you I haven't met in person yet, I look forward to meeting with you and hopefully hanging out. All right, guys. Love you. One love. Bye.